What's happening, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. On today's show, we'll get you caught up on headlines from around the conference, including an update on the starting quarterbacks for Florida and LSU and some key injuries at Alabama. What does the future hold for Vols quarterback Hendon Hooker? Also, we'll talk the latest on Bo Nix's season-ending injury with Zac Blackerby of Locked On Auburn. Do the Tigers have any chance still to win an Iron Bowl next week? And we'll give you the TV schedule for SEC Week 13. Get some Egg Bowl entertainment on your Thanksgiving. Locked On SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is happening, everybody? I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On SEC is free and available on all platforms, including on YouTube. Let's jump into it. Let's go around the conference.
Boots out to the right. Takes the handoff. What a catch! Around the conference.
We start over at Florida, as head coach Dan Mullen said Monday that quarterback Anthony Richardson is 100% healthy and might get a package when the Gators play Missouri on Saturday. But he said that Emory Jones is his quarterback. Of course, Jones just had a ridiculous game against Samford where he threw 6 touchdowns through the air, added another 86 yards and a score on the ground. The redshirt junior told members of the media he feels good, but he did suffer a thumb injury that is feeling better day by day, according to Jones. The Gators will head to Columbia on Saturday to face Mizzou on the SEC network. Dan Mullen also said he did not see the final 2 games of his season as him coaching for his job, despite many opinions out there on the state of the Florida program. The Gators, of course, will play Missouri this week, and then they will finish the regular season against Florida State. Dan Mullen was asked about a video that surfaced of him dancing in the locker room following the Samford win. And the optics, given, they were down double digits to an FCS team. Mullen said, quote, "I've never won a game that was not worth celebrating. If we win the game 3-2 this week, I'll be dancing in that locker room. If we win 70-2, we'll be celebrating." So take that for what you will with Dan Mullen. Lane Kiffin over at Ole Miss, they're coming off a big win over Texas A&M, and now they face Vanderbilt and what will be a senior day for them. Lane Kiffin said at his press conference yesterday, "We're excited to play at home. To me, it should be a challenge that A&M didn't use a silent count. It should be a challenge to our fans to be even louder. Senior day and probably the quarterback's last day. Hopefully we show up." Of course, he means Matt Corral having a Heisman Trophy level season. He was 24 for 37 last week as the Rebels put up over 500 yards of total offense. Matt Corral this season over 2,700 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, 2 picks. Quite improvement after the 14 interceptions he had last year. Over at LSU, they're going to be going back to Max Johnson as their starting quarterback. Max Johnson played just 2 series last week in the loss to Arkansas while Garrett Nussmeier took over and played the rest of the game, went 18 of 31 for 179 yards and a touchdown with 2 picks. But yesterday, Coach O said, "I like Garrett and Max. Both are great players. I don't think Garrett beat out Max, though. Max is our starter. It's going to be up to Garrett and his father if he wants to redshirt or play in a backup role, because Garrett Nussmeier has now played in 4 games, so if he plays in another one, he will burn that red shirt." Ogeron added he'll leave it up to the Nussmeiers about whether they want to preserve that red shirt. But Max Johnson will be the starter this week. On Monday during his press conference, Alabama head coach Nick Saban said that sophomore running back Roydell Williams' knee injury would require surgery. Saban did not offer a timeline for a return. He also provided an update on JoJo Earl, who was also forced to leave the game with the Aggies after sustaining a leg injury. The wide receiver freshman will not need surgery. Saban also added that with Roydell Williams now sidelined and all the other injury issues that Alabama's had at running back, they're going to have to get creative. He said they will probably look for somebody else on the team that maybe they could develop into being a functional player from an emergency standpoint after losing a third running back to injury. So it's a problem you never thought Alabama would ever have. Not enough running backs. Just the injury bug taking its toll. The good news is Brian Robinson has been very good for them. He'll continue to be the workhorse. Over at Georgia, they're going to honor their seniors this week against Charleston Southern for the final home game for the Bulldogs wrap up next week at Georgia Tech. Georgia missed their opportunity to honor their seniors because the Vanderbilt game was canceled last year due to with the COVID issues. So Kirby Smart said the plan is to honor all fourth-year players or beyond. So a lot of them have an extra year of eligibility, but we're not crossing that off yet. We'd rather have them have an opportunity to go ahead, walk, make the decision. If they walk twice, then great. They got a special opportunity. So third-year juniors not included in that group, Kirby said Monday at his press conference, because they will decide in their NFL plans after the season. Over in Kentucky, head coach Mark Stoops said this week a key to the offensive success in 2021 has been the play of senior tackle Darian Kennard, who picked up an Offensive Lineman of the Week award this week. Stoops said, we do not talk, or people don't talk enough about him. He has been a dominant player. Kennard is 6'5", 345-pounder. Kentucky's game with New Mexico State on Saturday, set for noon Eastern on the SEC Network. Over at Tennessee, Hendon Hooker has been outstanding this year at quarterback for the Vols. And the question about his future and beyond is out there. Coach Josh Heupel was asked if he's had any conversations with Heupel and roster management decisions between recruiting and the transfer portal. Heupel said, they'll happen as soon as we finish the season. I think it's important to finish the year the right way, and the kid makes an educated decision. We want our guys to have an opportunity at the next level. You want them to have a full career. Heupel was also asked about Javonte Payton's availability this week. After he left Saturday's game with a shoulder injury, he said, we'll see how this week unfolds. But look, it would be huge for the Vols moving forward if they can get Hendon Hooker to come back for another year. We'll see what he has to say. There are 2 weeks still remaining in the regular season, but college football fans already looking forward to a Georgia-Alabama SEC championship game. Let's be real. If Bama takes care of business this week against Arkansas, they're going to Atlanta. A&M losing over the weekend took them out of it. So A&M's out. Auburn, they took another loss, so they're out. But we know Georgia will be there for sure. On Monday, one sportsbook revealed that Georgia would be installed right now as a 3-point favorite over Alabama, and the over-under would be 50.5. Man, if I could bet on that game right now, I'm jumping on Georgia minus the 3. Just with the way their defense has been playing. Look, Alabama's going to have a chance. They got a chance to finish the season strong with wins against Arkansas and Auburn to finish off this season. But based on what I've seen from Alabama's offensive line play down the stretch of the season, I think Georgia's D-line is going to eat. Well, we got a couple games before that game happens. Of course, the SEC championship game set for December 4th at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Georgia, of course, stepping out of conference this week to face Charleston Southern. And there you have it. That is around the conference. Thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Coming up next, we will talk with Zac Blackerby, host of Locked On Auburn, to get his thoughts on Bo Nix and his season-ending injury and what that means for Auburn moving forward. Quick reminder that our friends over at NetSuite, look, the putt to win the tournament. This is it. You're leaning over it. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is that how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software. If you want to see the full big picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth with visibility and control of your financials, your inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, everything. NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. With NetSuite, you can automate your processes and close your books in no time while staying well ahead of your competition. 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. Look, over 27,000 businesses already use NetSuite, and right now through the end of the year, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program to those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/LockedOnNCAA. Again, that's netsuite.com/LockedOnNCAA. Head over there for special end of the year financing on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. It is netsuite.com/LockedOnNCAA. Go check them out today. Quick minute here for our friends over at PrizePicks. If you're a college football fanatic and you have not tried out PrizePicks yet, what are you waiting for? PrizePicks is a leader and college sports daily fantasy. They offer more college football props than anyone in the world. They offer all the star players of the Power Five as well as mid-majors. They offer any prop you can think of, from yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown. All of our users that deposit and use our promo code LOCKEDON, you'll get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. They allow you to pick 2 to 5 players, the over-under projections. It's so cool and it's unique. You can do it with NFL, college football, basketball, anything you want. You can do multiple sports across the landscape. It's really cool. Go check out their award-winning app. You can find it in the App Store, Google Play Store. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. And PrizePicks, of course, is safe and they offer fast withdrawals. Don't hesitate. Go check out prizepicks.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON. That's LOCKEDON. Or go to their app store and download today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Rolling along here, Locked On SEC. And look, you don't like to be at the centerpiece of discussion when it comes to the SEC following an epic loss, and then you lose a key player in Bo Nix. But joining us right now is our buddy Zac Blackerby, host of Locked On Auburn, to talk all things about the Auburn Tigers. Zac, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm just like a lot of Auburn folks, just kind of recovering from what was a really bad Saturday for the Auburn fan base. I mean, you blow a 28-3 lead, and then all of a sudden you lose your quarterback, you lose your kicker, you may lose your left tackle, and also your best wide receiver may miss some time. So a lot of rumors going out there and speculation, but yeah, like half of Auburn's roster, especially on offense, it's pretty banged up. So not great.
So help me out, Zac. When did the injury happen? Because I think we were all a little surprised when we saw TJ Finley come in there at the end of the game. Right. But when exactly did it happen?
Yeah, we all saw Bo kind of hobbling around, in the fourth quarter, and so we didn't know, like, okay, they giving up? Like, why is Finley in there? They kind of, just hoping a spark would happen. But it sounds like the injury occurred when Bo got hit on the deep pass to Javaris Johnson. It was initially called a touchdown, and then they reviewed it, and he was down to like the inch. And then Tank Bigsby scored I think it was the next play. So it was that play. But yeah, Gordy, I didn't realize you could physically play on a broken ankle, but I guess you can. I guess it's a pain tolerance thing. But after 3 drives of kind of toughing it out, they pulled him. And Finley went in for 2 plays, and the offensive line didn't really help Bo out. The offensive line did not help Finley out either. His first play was a pretty bad incompletion. The second one was a fumble. So not great for TJ Finley going in there, but he was kind of set up to fail in that situation. So not great at all, but Nix is out of surgery as we record this. It sounds like everything went well, but he will miss the rest of the season per sources close to the program. So big hit for Auburn.
Well, so take me back, Zac, because for those of us who watched this game, I mean, we were, first half went Auburn's way, right? I mean, you left some points out there. I think they had a missed field goal in the first half, but outside of that, I mean, the offense was kind of moving. You were running the ball well with Tank Bigsby, and
right.
You're able to put up a couple scores. What happened at halftime where the team just presumably did not come out of the half, I guess?
Mississippi State was getting things going. I mean, Mississippi State won the last few minutes of the second quarter. I mean, they got it within a ball game, and then you had the feeling like, oh no, they get the ball back. They're going to be able to, march it downfield again and do that sort of thing. So I don't know if it was necessarily one specific thing. They definitely stopped the run. Tank Bigsby averaged like 2 yards a carry. Auburn had minus yards rushing in the second half. So that's not good. That's definitely not how you win, especially when you kind of run to set up the pass. But Mississippi State won in the trenches on both sides of the football. And that's kind of been the recipe of how you beat Auburn, is you push Bo Nix around by getting past those tackles. And then on the other side of it, and I said this all week on Locked On Auburn, it's like, I don't think Auburn's going to be able to pressure Rodgers and this Mississippi State offense. I don't think they're going to be able to get there. And he threw it, like 50 times, and they got to him twice. And one of those was a targeting call on TD Moultrie, the most bogus targeting call I've ever seen, by the way. But that's just kind of how it went. I mean, they couldn't get to him. And, there's this big misconception, Gordy, and I'm sure you've touched on it at some point, but this air raid offense, people hear air raid and they think, big explosive plays. And that's not really the way Mike Leach does this. It's a ball control offense. And over the course of the game, if you're a defender for the Tigers, you've been on the field for what feels like the whole game. Yeah. And they broke down, and Mississippi State smelled blood and they attacked, and props to them. Mike Leach had a great game plan.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. I mean, even yesterday when I was kind of reviewing the game, and I got all the games going on at one time and I watched it live, but when I look back at the box score and saw like Mississippi State second half, touchdown. I mean, it's like, what is going on? And I just got finished giving Derek Mason his props. I thought the defense was playing really well the last couple of weeks. Even in the loss to A&M, they did a pretty good job of slowing down A&M's run game, and I thought they had a good game plan. But man, that second half was just abysmal.
And that's not really what Auburn fans seem to be upset about, the whole, giving up 6 touchdowns through the air and the 400+ yards. I think the thing that most fans are upset about, and what I think, I called it a fireable offense Monday on Locked On Auburn, was it took you 40 unanswered points to change what you were doing schematically.
Right.
And no matter what you're going to do, nothing was going to happen where Auburn was going to send more than 3 guys at the Mississippi State passing attack. And 40 points later, all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe we should send a 4th guy. And then they started to, and they actually started getting pressure there and slowed them down a little bit. But that, to me, I think is what has the Auburn fan base so upset, is the whole, why didn't you do anything to stop it? I mean, it was death by a million paper cuts, and you didn't do anything to stop it. We all saw it coming, and you didn't do anything. That stubbornness, that's what has Auburn fans kind of feeling the wrong way this week.
Yeah, I think I saw Paul Feinbaum even said kind of what I said. All the goodwill you built up in these first few weeks, it's like it's all out the window in just a couple of weeks of or just one half really of football. And so it's unfortunate. Let's hit on a couple big picture things, Zach, kind of moving forward. First off, presumably TJ Finley will be the starter for these last 2 games. Right. We've seen a limited sample size of him. Obviously he got a good bit of playing time last year through a stretch of season last year when he was a starter for LSU, but expectations for him, and you got all week to get him ready to go to a South Carolina team that, it's been very Jekyll and Hyde. One week South Carolina looks great, another one they're laying on their face. But I saw our friends at BetOnline already have Auburn as a 7-point favorite, and I don't know if that was pre-Bo Nix injury news or after. But I was a little surprised by that. But what do you think of TJ Finley, and can he get the job done?
His best game last year for LSU was against South Carolina, statistically. And he and LSU really took South Carolina out back and kind of did whatever they needed to. And they scored, I think they put up 52 points, like 52-14, something like that a year ago. So that was a beatdown. So if you're an Auburn person, I guess that's something you can point at and say, okay, that's good. I don't like this matchup for Auburn. And I think the defense, and I'm saying this even though they gave up so much to Mississippi State this past weekend, but South Carolina's defense statistically I think it's still top 5 in the league. I know it was like top 5 or 6 going into this past weekend. And as we've seen, Auburn's running game just kind of disappears against, average or better defenses. And so that's something that Finley's going to need. They're going to need to be able to run the football to help him out. And I'm not confident they'll be able to do that, especially with some potential injuries on the offensive line. So that's something. Yeah, I just got done at the time of us recording this. I just got done recording Locked On Auburn, and I got to the BetOnline.ag read, and it's like 7 points. I'm hammering South Carolina right there. I don't feel good about that at all. But yeah, then, Finley looking ahead to the Iron Bowl, and it's like, man, this poor dude, like, I mean, he has just been put in a situation to fail. But maybe he can come together and do it. You know, I'm sure he feels, Gordy, I'm sure he feels a little cheated, and I haven't heard from him. I don't know if he feels this way or not, but I think he probably thought he was going to get more of a chance earlier this season. And, you know, all that talk after, you know, bailing Bo Nix out against Georgia State and going up, you know, all week to that LSU matchup, that could have been a really cool story for him. You know, homecoming, you know, for TJ Finley. That game could have been dubbed the TJ Finley game in history. And that was kind of taken away from him. And I don't think he really got a legitimate shot at it. So this is his chance. This is his chance to prove his coaching staff wrong and all the folks that doubted him wrong. And we'll see. We'll see how Finley is wired and if that motivates him enough to kind of, you know, put together a really solid performance.
If, you know, like we said, we expect Finley to be the guy. Any thought on any of the other guys? I know Demetrius Davis was a highly thought of recruit. And, you know, I had a buddy of mine from Houston who saw him play in high school. He's like, oh, this kid's going to beat out Bo Nix for the job. I mean, that was the thought on people who saw Demetrius Davis in high school. I mean, any thought to playing any of the other guys, or is this, I mean, it's just kind of said it's going to be Finley.
I think it's said it's going to be Finley, and there's actually some drama going on around that. Davis doesn't have any Auburn things on his social media. That's all been taken down. We're not exactly sure when all that was taken down, but he's not on the depth chart. It is Finley, and then the backup is Grant Loy. You can read into that as much as you want, but I don't think this coaching staff has any interest in playing Demetrius Davis this year.
Wow. Quick thought on Bo Nix. We assume he's going to come back next year. Is that kind of the understanding? And look, he'll be a seasoned vet by the time he comes back next year, and we'll probably be on all the preseason watch lists for quarterbacks out there, preseason all SEC and all that. But, I mean, do you fully expect right now in November that Bo Nix is back next season?
Yeah, I do. You know, maybe it gets really interesting if Finley, you know, starts and beats South Carolina and beats Alabama and wins the bowl game, or at least puts up a lot of points. If that happens, I think then it gets a little interesting. I don't see Nix running away from competition. It seems like he's embraced it every step of the way of his Auburn career. But yeah, I don't see a world where Bo Nix is not Auburn's starter next season. But it's going to be interesting. They've got I guess a guy in this recruiting class named Holden Gariner that this coaching staff's really high on. So that's going to be interesting. But very, very full room, especially if Davis sticks around and Finley sticks around and all that. So before serviceable dudes, we'll see how Nix handles that. But, you know, what does Nix want to accomplish? This past game, he set the record for like most yards ever for an offensive player at Auburn career-wise. And so, you know, that's Bo Nix's record. And I mean, he's got 2 more seasons if he wants them. So, I mean, he could absolutely obliterate that. He could obliterate every career record he wants, maybe even rushing if he you know, uses his legs a little bit more. I mean, he just has so much time with that COVID year and starting as a true freshman. But what does he want to accomplish? I don't get the vibe that Nix wants to leave Auburn. I think he really likes it here. And he's really dug his heels into this NIL stuff. I mean, whether it's Milo's or it's Bow Time with Bojangles, he's selling NFTs now. I mean, the guy's got it made. I don't know why he would leave.
Okay, but flip side, does Brian Harsin and staff say, let's comb the transfer portal? You know, Miles Brennan at LSU is available. Like, there's other guys. Like, are we, you know, handicapping ourselves hanging on to Bo Nix another year and not kind of doing our due diligence?
Yeah. I mean, I think they saw that, you know, this coaching staff doesn't care who Bo Nix is. We saw that a year ago when they went to get Finley, and they missed out on a few other guys as well. I mean, they wanted to bring in another quarterback. But I don't think any of these guys out there are that much better than Bo Nix that Auburn's going to be in play for. Now, there's a few of them, you know, like what happens with Spencer Rattler's situation and all that. But like, I don't think Auburn's going to be in play for guys like that. So yeah, I don't think there's a guy that Harsin and company could talk themselves into that could be better than Bo Nix.
He is Zac Blackerby, host of Locked On Auburn. Zac, appreciate the time as always, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Gordy. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Zac Blackerby of Locked On Auburn. He and I, we just mentioned a minute ago about the line on the Auburn, South Carolina game. It is 7 over at our friends at BetOnline.ag, and they are back and better than ever. They got a new website, new interface for the start of basketball season, which just started up. We got college hoops, we've got NBA, tons of different action, and BetOnline remains your number one spot for all things basketball and football. Of course, just a couple weeks left of college football, but they'll have all the bowl games there for you with all the lines. Head on over to their new website. You can do so on your desktop or mobile device. Sign up today. Get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use our promo code LOCKEDON. That's LOCKEDON. That will get you your bonus from basketball, football, baseball, postseason, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the rest of this year. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. Rolling along here, Locked On SEC, and thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Yesterday, the SEC recognized some of their top individual performances from this past weekend, handing out their SEC Player of the Week awards. So figured we'd jump in on some of those real quick. Headlining the list is Mississippi State quarterback Will Rogers, who passed for over 400 yards and a school record 6 touchdowns in their come-from-behind victory over Auburn. In all, there were 7 players recognized this week. Your SEC Week 11 Players of the Week. Will Rogers from Mississippi State, as we just mentioned, was the Offensive Player of the Week. Defensive Player of the Week, Channing Tindall over at Georgia. The linebacker had a fantastic week, couple sacks. Special Teams Player of the Week, it was Cam Little, the Arkansas kicker, who kicked the game winner in overtime to beat LSU in Death Valley. Your D-Lineman of the Week, Isaiah McGuire, D-Lineman at Mizzou. I talked about how good Mizzou's defense played this week. They've been abysmal most of the season. They were really good in their win over South Carolina, so congrats to Isaiah McGuire. Co-offensive lineman of the week, Caleb Warren at Ole Miss and Darian Kennard at Kentucky. Both those guys had great weeks. And then your freshman of the week goes to Caden Costa, your kicker at Ole Miss. Freshman getting it done. Over in hoops, Florida's Colin Castleton and Tennessee's Kennedy Chandler. They got off to a good start with the start of men's basketball season. Colin Castleton named the Player of the Week after he had averaged 16.5 points in wins over Elon and number 20 Florida State. So congrats to him and the Florida Gators. And then Chandler, he was named Freshman of the Week after he averaged 18 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds in the Vols wins over UT Martin and ETSU. Last thing before we get out of here, the SEC yesterday announced the start times and television networks for the Week 13 rivalry games. It will be the final Saturday of the regular season, but things will get started on Thursday night, November 25th, Thanksgiving night. Settle in for some Egg Bowl action. It'll be Ole Miss and Mississippi State, 6:30 Central on ESPN. It's becoming a tradition like no other. Love watching the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night. This one's actually going to be a good one. Like, last few years haven't been great with Joe Moorhead versus Matt Luke. This is going to be good, where you get Lane Kiffin versus Mike Leach, and both these teams kind of maybe exceeding expectations where they are at this point this season. Both teams have had great years. That's going to be a hell of a game on Thanksgiving night. The Friday afternoon game, as it typically is, Mizzou at Arkansas, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern on CBS. That'll be a big one for Arkansas to finish off their season strong. And then the Saturday games, we'll get Florida State at Florida. That'll be a noon Central, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern game on ESPN. That game becomes a little bit different now, right? Like, as far as expectations for, like, a few weeks ago, we would have thought Florida would have rolled that game. Now, I don't know where the betting line is, but I might favor Florida State over Florida in that one. Georgia will be at Georgia Tech. That'll be a noon Eastern game on ABC. So Georgia will finish off their season, get a comfortable lead, rest your starters, and get ready for the SEC title game. Alabama at Auburn, the Iron Bowl will be 2:30 Central on CBS. Vanderbilt at Tennessee, that'll be a 2:45 Central, 3:45 Eastern on the SEC Network. And then your 2 night games, Texas A&M at LSU will be a 6 p.m. Central game on ESPN. And then how about Clemson at South Carolina? 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern on the SEC Network. Clemson is playing a game on the SEC Network. What a fall for grace, Clemson. Fall from grace, I should say. And then lastly, Kentucky at Louisville. No network or time yet. I think they're waiting to see Kentucky and Louisville win a couple games here, and then they may, put them in a prime spot on ESPN or ABC or something. We'll see. So that will be announced very soon. And there you have it. That is all the news and notes from today on Locked On SEC. I appreciate you guys for listening and subscribing, and of course making us your first listen every day. I'm Chris Gordy. We will talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On SEC. Before we go, you made us your first listen. Go make your next listen. Go check out the Locked On Bets podcast. It's your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Go check it out. I'm Chris Gordy. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On SEC.